Hello and welcome to Kaohoon International Special Interview. I am Adisa Saprasert and our guest today come from Thaicom Public Company Limited, which is Thailand's leading satellite service provider and operator. Thaicom recently won a bid on several satellite orbital slot packages, including the 119.5 degrees east, which is currently being occupied by Thaicom 4, which is Thailand's main telecommunication satellite. However, Thaicom 4 is set to expire by the end of 2024, so the question of investing in additional satellites and how it would affect the Thaicom company emerges. Today, we have Mr. Pathom Phopsuwansiri, Thaicom CEO, here with us today to give us clarifications on Thaicom's additional satellite investments. Hello, Mr. Pathom Phop, and thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you and your company in winning the bid. I would like to begin with the first question on the cost of the new satellite. I heard that it's cheaper than the Thaicom 4. May I ask how come, why is it cheaper, and how would the cost of reduction benefit Thaicom?
Okay, thank you, and thank you for having me on this program. We just recently won the bid for two packages, as you mentioned, and which has two orbital slots. The first orbital slot is at 119.5. We are proposing an investment of around 15 billion baht. So the 15 billion baht consists of three satellites, two small satellites and one larger satellite. Compared to the previous investment which we had on our broadband satellite in 2005, that was about the same amount of investment, around 15 billion baht, but that only provided only 40 gigabits per second of capacity. This one will provide 120 gigabits per second. Therefore, if you look at it simply, it's around three times, we have three times more capacity for the same amount of investment.
And so will the reduction in the cost mean that the customer service fee will be reduced as well?
Yes, there is that possibility, but I think we think of it more of there'll be more consumption of customers because of the lower cost. Because as you know, right now, everybody wants to consume bandwidth, right? So even one person will consume more and more bandwidth over the years. So we see of it as more of a growth rather than discount of the price.
Okay, and with the increased capacity, does it also mean that there will be new business ventures coming with it?
Yes, with our new satellites, we're focusing on a few key markets that we know very well, and both in Thailand and internationally. In particular, if it's internationally, we are very, very focused and keen on the Indian market. Right. Because India, as you know, has over 1 billion people, and the terrain is varied. Therefore, it is very appropriate for satellite services. So we see that there are many applications that are being used now, especially places that are remote, that will benefit everybody, especially the people who are in those areas. For example, education or telemedicine as an initial example.
Right. So how is the development in India, if I may ask?
Yes, we have been actually providing service in India for over 15 years. As a Thai company, we have been working closely with the state-owned enterprise there and the government there for the last 15 years. So we will continue to have this close relationship as they roll out what they call the Digital India scheme. Therefore, we see India as a land of opportunities for us in the long term.
And also with the increased capacity, would there be new businesses emerging in relation to the mega trend?
Yes, I think like as you know, everybody wants to get connected, not only people in the city, right? Because there are many government services and a lot of bank services that rely on the internet. So we see that there's still a struggle to get good connection out to everywhere and everywhere in the country, right? Especially in a large country like India. But we're also looking at places like Indonesia and Philippines, where, as you know, there's a lot of island there as well. So there are hard to reach places. but the services that the people expect has to go through the digital platform. So therefore, I think we are an enabler for those type of services in the future.
Oh, so you're meaning that apart from India in the future, you may be expanding to Philippines,
Yes,
Indonesia.
and Indonesia as well.
Right,
Yes.
Right. What about, does the increased capacity has to do with what you were mentioning about the carbon credit business?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's another area of Thaicom that we're expanding to. In the past, we were focused on being a satellite operator and providing satellite services. But looking into the future, our vision is more than just satellites. Our vision is what we call space tech.
Space
So
tech.
anything which has to do with space. So one of the areas that we have initiated is the use of satellite data and satellite imaging, which is basically pictures taken from satellites, and use it to actually calculate carbon absorption in forest land. So we're using satellite technology to basically evaluate how much carbon is being absorbed in, for example, in a forest area.
So if a company is interested in using satellite to measure carbon, if they want to use this satellite service, how should they start?
Yeah, well, I think they can come to us because we can verify with them. For example, there are two areas. One is the people who they have a land and they want to grow trees and they want to use this as to absorb the carbon to offset some of the pollution that they are doing in the other part of the business. In that way, Thaicom can help in using our tools to evaluate how much is being absorbed. And we're in the process of getting this methodology verified internationally.
Okay.
Once it's verified internationally, you can use this to trade carbon in the future as well.
Thank you. And another aspect that I find very important is your collaboration with Starlink.
Yes.
Can you please tell us more about that?
Well, I think with the LEO, they're both Starlink we are working on at the moment, but one of the partners that we have when we have signed up is with Globalstar.
Globalstar.
Yeah, so with Globalstar is a low Earth orbit constellation similar to Starlink, but they're doing their particular niche is with IoT. So basically, it's a low Earth orbit constellation that provides services such as emergency services. For example, if you are out at sea, what we're providing now is like a life vest, which has this equipment, satellite equipment, that will track and see where you are, just in case that there's an emergency that needs attending to. Then the officials will know exactly where you are. And there's also a button, like an SOS button, that will be able, if you need help as well. So we have signed up with the company called Globalstar, which is an American company, and listed in the New York Stock Exchange as well. And we have signed up with them, and our main tasks are twofold. First of all, we are the provider of services for them in Thailand, and we also facilitate the landing rights to officially provide the services in Thailand. Because as you know, anything to do with frequencies and telecom has to go through the NBTC. So therefore, Globalstar has partnered with Thaicom as the official local partner here in Thailand. So right now we are in the middle of the construction of what they call the equipment, which is the gateway, to provide the service in Thailand, which will be in our facilities. And this we expect it to be complete by Q2 of this year.
Of this year?
Yeah, so once we have these services completed, then the full service can start the second half of this year.
So just to wrap up from what you said about your project in India and your future expansion into the Philippines, Indonesia, and your project with Globalstar,
Yes.
many investors are keen to know what can they expect or what can
Yes.
they earn from all your ventures.
Okay, I think Thaicom's at a stage where, first of all, we have very important milestone is that we secured the orbital slots, which will give us the license to provide continual service for the next 20 years. So what the investors can expect is that the business that we have been successfully doing for the last 30 years will continue on for at least another 20 years, right? So I think they will have, and there are a lot of opportunities in terms of providing broadband services both Thailand and internationally. And the second part of our business, which is the exciting part of our business, is the space tech. we are now initiating lots of projects in the space tech arena, which we feel that in the future, not only Thailand, but the whole world, space tech will be part of our lives. And the information that we get from space actually helps people on Earth. So this is the area that we are very keen to focus on, and it'll be our future growth in the long term.
All right. I believe that investors are looking forward, especially to your space tech business.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much for today.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and that is Thaicom's recent development. From now on, we have to keep an eye on how the market will react to Thaicom's recent victory and Thaicom's future endeavors. That is it. I'll see you in Kaohoon's International next special interview.